A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Well, you will know that around Australia, in state capital cities each year, there's a growing momentum for pro-life marches. Well, this Saturday, 8th of June, it's Brisbane's turn, and there is a call for pro-life supporters to gather at Speaker's Corner outside Parliament House in George Street for what's known as the March for Life. The organisers say there are urgent issues in the state of Queensland, one of those being the Queensland Babies Born Alive bill that's been postponed indefinitely. Matthew Cliff leads Cherish Life in Queensland. They're coordinating the Queensland March for Life this Saturday. Hey Matthew, welcome along to 2020.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for having me.
Well, Matthew, this Saturday, the 8th of June, it's Brisbane's turn, and I've checked the forecast. Mostly fine and a top of 22 degrees. I don't know whether you'll get much more perfect conditions for a gathering, a beautiful Brisbane winter's day. I guess you'll be saying to everyone, how about getting on the streets and making your presence felt?
Absolutely, yeah, Neil. That's a huge blessing. It was again touch and go. I was looking at the kind of weather in anticipation, but yeah, by God's grace, we've got fantastic weather. So yeah, the excuses for not coming out are falling by the wayside a little bit, which is good.
Hey Matthew, there has been a shift in thinking around abortion. Now, I'm talking around the world. There's been a shift. Many Aussies have had a shift. Are you seeing changes in attitudes with the people you're speaking to?
Yeah, we are. I think what's critical, Neil, in this whole discussion is, you know, the further that the scientific community advances and the more we can see in the womb, the more it becomes difficult to deny, obviously, the reality that there's a child in the womb. So science, if you like, is really in our favour with this. So that benefits us. Slowly, what's happening is, unfortunately, it's drifting now, not so much into from a biological question, as in with regards to what is in the womb, but more to a philosophical question of, you know, when does life matter really? So, you know, that's another horizon that we've got to kind of step up to, but. Yeah, we are seeing a shift. The more we can have those kind of one-to-one conversations, the more we're able to bring people to our perspective, which is a blessing.
Let's talk about the biggest issues right now in the state of Queensland, because when you get a whole lot of people out on the streets of Brisbane City, they're at Speaker's Corner outside Parliament House, there's going to be something that no doubt has to be urgent to get a lot of people out to actually make a statement by their presence. What are the biggest issues you're dealing with? Yeah,
the biggest issue at the moment would be the babies, that basically babies are born alive as a result of failed abortion procedures because of the laws that we have in Queensland where abortion's allowed up to birth. So, for example, from 2018 to 2022, 207 babies, we know, we've got these statistics from Queensland Health, have been born alive ultimately and left to die with any legislative right to healthcare. So this is the biggest pressing issue that we have at the moment. And Robbie Katter, leader of the Katter Party, has recently put through a bill basically to get these children a legislative right to receive the same care as any other child born in Australia. So that's a big one at the moment for us. And yeah, that's where we're at.
And as you say, as medical technology advances, it's on the side of understanding that is a little life, a little baby in that womb. So when you get the circumstance, as what happened recently, the Queensland Babies Born Alive bill, postponed without any indication of a rescheduled date, what is that saying about the state of where our leaders are in the state of Queensland?
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, when we received that news, it was very concerning. Definitely, we felt that there was a ploy to stall the bill. But I mean, I can share with your listeners today, Neil, actually, that I received information earlier this morning that they have actually rescheduled now the public hearing. So we are absolutely delighted with that. That there's a new date in August. We weren't given any indication that would be so, but we've kind of contacted our supporters, and they got in touch and emailed through. And it's just a huge blessing now. We're going to get the opportunity to have a public hearing on this. So we're excited.
Okay, so there is a new date in August for this bill. That might make it even all the more important to have numbers on the streets this Saturday.
Absolutely.
What difference does it make, do you think, when you are in the crowd and when the media is reporting on a gathering that is a pro-life gathering? What difference does that make?
Well, as individuals, when we come together at the marches, we become a much more visible community. And it's a great opportunity, again, as a community, to demonstrate that we are unhappy with these unjust laws. And every single individual obviously matters. The more people we can have, the greater the impact. So we would, love as many people to be there as possible. Again, just to raise awareness and to put this, in view of obviously the politicians, but also the media and the public as well. So it makes a huge difference.
And so, just zeroing in on the state of Queensland, the statistics: 90 newborns were born alive after an abortion. That's the 2020 to 2022 latest figures that are available. And Robbie Katter, when he introduced that bill for Queensland, he wants to amend the Queensland abortion law to make it clear that if a live birth occurs after an abortion, the child will be treated no differently to any other child born in Queensland. That's what's being asked for here.
That's 100%. That's what Robbie's asking. And that essentially, we want a principle of birth equality. That, and again, any child, regardless of the circumstances in which they are born, have the same legislative right to medical care and treatment as any other newborn child. It's very, very simple. That's essentially what this bill is trying to get through, or the amendments trying to make.
I noticed on your website you've got the story there of a baby named Jessica Jane, who was one of these children who was born alive after an abortion and was left on a metal plate for 80 minutes. That's a pretty typical sort of story?
Sadly, the reality is we don't have many testimonies like this. So in order to say, is that typical, we just don't have the evidence. What we do know is that this happens, again, as the statistics prove, but we don't have many of these stories. We do have some. We again, this is another area that we would maybe looking to get, where we can get more of these kind of, what's going on behind the scenes. But the Jessica Jane story gives you an indication of the reality of what is happening. I have healthcare practitioners and midwives speak to me. I've just spoke to one this morning who's telling me a story about, their experiences serving in these hospitals and what they're seeing. And it really, truly is. Some of the testimonies are really heartbreaking. And look, the reality is the public hearing now in August gives us an opportunity to share more of these stories. So that's the goal, really, to get more of these stories out there, to show, look, this is not necessarily a fringe issue. This is happening even today. So, we are looking forward to that opportunity.
The opportunity in August, that'll be one that is very welcome. But on the other hand, you've got the Labor government in Queensland, as I understand it, has a policy for universal access to abortion for women. So it's difficult to push this sort of new bill into law because of the ideological bent that the government has. How do you reflect on that?
That's a really good question. I think, as you just pointed out, look, sadly, tragically, the Labour Party have embraced this anti-life ideology. We know that through the policies that they promote, and we see that in 2018, they were the ones that introduced abortion on demand. So we are aware of that. Our hope is, though, is that with the public hearing, we can raise even more awareness. This is ultimately, from our perspective, we're not looking to, basically, it's not going to impact the abortion law. essentially people still have access to abortion. All we're asking for with this particular amendment is that a child be treated no differently to any other Australian child. So, look, our hope is to appeal to the conscience of the Labour MPs. And yeah, obviously we're hopeful that the LNP will also vote on this bill in the right way. But let's see. Look, we want to take it step by step. Let's get the public hearing out of the way first. I mean, we've just seen a mini victory here that when we raise awareness about what's going on, we can actually have impact, as is just seen with the rescheduling of the date. So we don't know. I think let's get to August first. Let's have the public hearing and then see where we are there.
There is a mini victory to celebrate, but there's a long path ahead, because lots of people will say, as they would in other states and territories around Australia, there's a slippery slope that we've been on for a long, long time. I mean, some other issues. Queensland's abortion pill access through nurses and midwives used to be the domain of doctors, but that's changed in Queensland. Yeah. There's a slippery slope issue, isn't there? And other issues too around euthanasia. Of course, euthanasia is available in Queensland. That's a pro-life issue as well. Do those sorts of things get represented by speakers at the March for Life?
Yeah, we look to put the most pressing issues before people. At the moment, we've actually made the decision that we feel like the Babies Born Alive bill is the most pressing at this present time, as we've got the actual bill in the Parliament. But yeah, that's not to say that we aren't equally as concerned about the euthanasia laws and also the pills as well, which has just happened just recently before the Babies Born Alive bill. So again, there's we feel that as coming to election time, there is a lot of movement, a lot of bills that have been put through, and we're trying to obviously keep up with them our side. But we really feel that the Babies Born Alive one is something that we can get through. So that's what our hope is.
Now there'll be lots of people listening to our conversation from states and territories all around Australia, but for Brisbane and southeast Queensland listeners who might be the sorts of people who'd turn up for the March for Life this Saturday, what are you anticipating? What do you think it's going to look like? Because there at Speaker's Corner, outside Parliament House in George Street, what's the picture going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, similar to years previously, really. We're hoping for an increase in numbers, and we have we've got some fantastic speakers. We've got Robbie Catter for the first time speaking at our march. Obviously, Robbie's is the person who's put through this bill, whose party have put through this bill. So we're excited to have Robbie there, who'll share more. We've got Michelle Pearce, the new CEO from the Australian Christian Lobby, who. Again, this is her first time speaking at our March for Life, so we're excited to have Michelle there. We've got Dr. Joanna Howe. Joanna's doing amazing things on social media to really bring these issues, pro-life issues, to the forefront of people's minds. And a lady called Anushka Firth, who's going to be sharing her post-abortive testimony. So, look, the speakers we are delighted with, and we feel that the speeches will be real informative to the people that come along. And then there's an opportunity straight away to actually respond with the march around Brisbane. So, yeah, we're super excited, and we're looking to, get as many people there as possible and raise as much awareness as we can.
Matthew, what time is the gathering on Saturday?
Yeah, so the speeches will commence at 2:00. We want to say to people, if you could start getting there around about 1:30, that would be great. We have some stalls there as well. So there is things to do. But yeah, sometimes it can be a bit cramped if you're not there a bit earlier. So try and get there as early as possible and get a good seat, a good position to hear the marches. But we have speakers as well, so there's no real drama there. But yeah, if you can get there as quick as possible, that'll be amazing.
Well, this Saturday it is Brisbane's turn, and there's a call for pro-life supporters to gather at Speaker's Corner outside Parliament House, George Street in Brisbane, for what's known as the March for Life 2 p.m. gathering. The website you can get some more details is cherishlife.org.au. cherishlife.org.au. Matthew Cliff leads Cherish Life. Matthew, thanks so much for a great update today on 2020.
Thank you, Neil. God bless you.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.